To God alone belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is on the earth, whether you reveal what is in your hearts or conceal it. God will call you to account for it. He forgives whoever he wills and punishes whoever he wills. And God is the most capable of everything. That's Ayah 284. Ayah 284 in Surah Al Baqarah. And we're almost done. We have 3 more left. Isn't it interesting in 284, though, that God is really just continuing to describe who he is? To God alone belongs whatever is in the heaven and the earth, not yours. You're just the person who's here, experiencing it. So if you're experiencing it, then you should be thankful for it, but you should also know that just like God created the heavens and the earth, the glass that you use to drink water was created by God. Created the sand was melted, turned into glass. Just like the earth was created by God, so are you. So as much as God knows an ant that sits on the leaf of a tree, he knows what's ever in your heart. God knows everything. But how can you just say that God knows everything? You have to describe it in ways that the limited intelligence of a human being, my limited intelligence of the human being, will understand it. For example, I know somebody got upset at me. I was reading the comments, obviously, and somebody in the comments got upset at me because I called God the source. But it's an English word. The source can be the source, the creator of everything. It's still the same thing. It means the same thing. Of course, you're using English words, but if the source, the creator knows everything about what he created. But because we have a limited mindset, we don't really understand how can you understand infinite if you have a finite mind? For example, bring back this cup. Now, imagine I had to fill this cup with water. I'm going to use props. Imagine I had to fill this cup with water. I had to fill this cup. How much of the ocean could this cup have? So imagine I pulled up the ocean and then I poured it out and then I filled up the ocean again. I pulled it with the ocean. I hope that makes sense. How much of the ocean would I be able to get? Just the size of this cup. So if my brain is only this big, how can I understand God more than this brain? The size. Even if you had, look, I have a different prop. Even if you had a different prop, maybe a 1-liter water bottle, you still wouldn't be able to fill the ocean more than a liter. So this is why, in different ways, it seems that God is describing himself. To God alone belongs whatever's in the heaven and the earth. Whatever you reveal, whether you reveal what is in your hearts or conceal it. So you have something in your heart, you know that it's in your heart. So be careful, essentially, what's in your heart, because God will call you to account for it. And that's fascinating, right? Because I think in one of my last videos, I was talking about how the tongue controls what's happening inside your body. When you talk, you manifest things into the world. And you actually manifest, if you say you speak negative, you start to become a negative person. If you gossip, it affects your soul. Why? Because you put a stain on your soul. You got into a negative energy realm. It's funny because non-Muslims will call this negative vibrations, these kind of things, these negative things. And Muslims will say this is the stuff that affects the soul. It seems like they're really talking about the same thing. But the creator of everything, the source, God, Allah, whatever name you want to give it, the creator of everything obviously knows what's inside your heart and what's inside your soul and knows what you think. So be careful of the things that you think. Because if you're thinking a bad thought, if you're thinking of what the Muslims would say, a haram thought, it's natural for us to think haram thoughts. It's natural for you to think a bad thought. But this quote, bad thought, this thought that would lead you to sinning, right? Missing the mark in which you aimed for. It would lead you to sin, then you should stop thinking that thought. For example, imagine you're a guy and you see a girl and you go, ooh, brother, don't look away. Because what are you going to do? You're going to just keep looking at girls that you're not going to have? It's going to make you crazy. And then those thoughts are going to affect your soul. It's really not good for your soul. So God will call you to account for it. He forgives whoever he wills and punishing whoever he wills. So it's just saying, really, it sees in 284, it's really saying God knows everything. You know nothing. You're just here. You were created. And he knows you essentially more than you know yourself because he knows everything. And he even knows what's in your heart. So be careful of what's in your heart. And he can forgive you, or he forgives whoever he wills and he punishes whoever he wills. So essentially, stay on your guard. Be wary of your own thoughts. Okay, how do you become wary of your own thoughts? You become wary of your own thoughts by being wary of what you say. Maybe it would be a good idea. I've done this. Try to go a day without complaining. Try to go a day without complaining. Do two things, really. Try to go a day without complaining, and then try to go a day without watching or hearing negative stuff. Like, stay away from it. Anything that's like a little bit pornographic, anything that's a little bit maybe violent, anything that's slanderous. Don't listen to it, don't talk it, don't be around it. And see how your soul actually goes to its natural spot. Imagine instead of watching and being part of something negative, you actually just stayed away and then focused on the prayer or meditation. Whichever religion you are, prayer or meditation, focusing on the Creator. Just focus on that instead of focusing on all the negative stuff. Maybe take a day to do that. Even if you just sat there and you just looked at the clouds and you just wondered about God's creation and said, wow, isn't it fantastic that I'm here? Maybe you would reset your dopamine factors. Maybe you would actually stop, you'd lose your sickness. Because in so many ways, people are sick, right? Like, people are sick with addictions. Either they're addicted to women, or addicted to drugs, or addicted to some type of alcohol. There's all these addictions that pull you. These are the things, if you find yourself in the center, you remember you're being pulled in a certain way. If you try to reset and just focus on God, focus on the prayer, then maybe you won't have any of those kind of things. So I guess like the first step, since I've been rambling, the first step is to guard what's in your own heart. So if you have something that the Muslims would call a haram thought, this is what I've been trying to do, it's just my perspective. If you have something that's a haram thought, realize that it's a haram thought, and realize that sometimes you're not in control of these thoughts. If the devil, if Satan is actually a whisperer that whispers things into your mind, your soul is the listener. Boom, it's whispering into your mind. Okay, you can observe it. Observe that you have this weird haram thought. Maybe even the haram thought would be, I think it's a haram thought. You guys tell me if you think so, but I think it's a haram thought, which would be, I'm not happy to be here. You know, like, I hate this world, or I think that's a haram thought because you're ungrateful for being here. Not haram like you're going to go to hell, but haram where you're put here to enjoy your life. I would think so, at least. Don't have those thoughts. Notice those thoughts, recognize those thoughts, and realize that actually those thoughts are on the way to depression. So I actually thought of something the other day. It's like, how does a person cure depression? Now, I'm not a doctor about curing depression or anything like that. However, if you're just focusing on negative stuff, isn't your mind going to be clouded with negativity? Rather, what if you just, I've been looking at the way the Muslims pray, and maybe I'll go into it in my next video, but the way Muslims pray is they're really just saying thank you, saying lead me on the straight path, and then God forgive me for all the things that I did, and then you're saying thank you, thank you, thank you. I was actually talking to a Muslim girl the other day, and she was telling me how she likes to, I forget what it's called, when you're like, but your head's on the ground. She says she likes to stay in that position all the time and just be grateful for being here. And that got rid of her anxiety. And actually, a lot of Muslim people that I talked to told me that the way they get rid of anxiety is through gratefulness. Okay, so imagine then the presupposition goes, you were actually created to worship. Now, the furthest you are away from worshiping God, the furthest you're away from the objective universe pushing you into a certain direction, the further you are from that, the more depressed you're going to be. It's just a food for thought. Imagine if you lived a life where instead of focusing on all the negativity, you just said thank you. That's what I like about the Muslim religion so far. One thing that I really started to appreciate was when people started telling me about prayers. So they pray in the morning. They pray in the afternoon. They pray in the late afternoon. They pray in the evening, and then they pray at night. And then all those prayers, what are they saying? They're saying, lead me on the straight path, and then they're focusing on saying thank you and forgive me. So there's a correction and then there's a forgiveness. If you only focus on please forgive me, you're just going to focus on how evil you are. You're going to be like, oh, I did this bad, I did that bad. But then if you say, hey, thank you for this, and thank you for this, and thank you for this, aren't you just going to be more grateful? Aren't you just practicing gratefulness? If you, for example, if you had a girlfriend and every day you complained about your girlfriend to your friend, you're going to like your girlfriend less, obviously. If you had a friend and you complained about your friend to your girlfriend, you're going to like your friend less. You're going to put yourself under a magical spell. Why not put yourself under a spell of being thankful, being a spell of being happy? And obviously, this is just what I extracted from this, and maybe not even extracted from this, just my own thoughts. But remember, whether you reveal what is in your hearts or conceal it, God will hold you to account for it. So essentially, just be very, very careful of what you hold into your heart. Is it lust? Is it greed? Is it fear? Is it envy? Get rid of all that stuff and just be grateful. Yeah, that's my thoughts for today. Thank you so much. Goodbye.